Hello everyone, this is Chloe, and I'm here today to share my experience with traveling overseas as a type 1 diabetic, what I did to prepare for this, how the experience was going through the airport and TSA, and then my arrival in my destination country. For this discussion, it will actually be about my trip that I took to Russia, which was a 4-month overseas trip in a country where the language is not English, so that's kind of the specifics of it. The way I began was I visited my endocrinologist, who was able to alter my treatment plan to the new environment that I was going to be in, maybe the new schedule, and gather my prescriptions. So domestically, I just usually get a prescription from my doctor, take it, it's in English, signed by her. But what you'll need is you'll need a translated version of this to take to the country that your host country. And I needed to get this translated into Russian and signed by my doctor as well, because it's an official prescription, but need to be able to read it. So once I received this, I called my insurance company to see the amount of medication and supplies I could get before I left. For my insurance company specifically, I was able to get 3 months worth of supplies, but I had a 4-month trip, so those prescriptions I received were going to cover that one last month of my medication and supplies that I needed. Just as another level of precaution, I did contact the insulin manufacturing company directly in Russia to see if they had insulin available for me there to order or purchase, which they did, thankfully. There's actually a production facility located in Russia that you can buy like your insulin directly from. And once I received my supplies and my medications for this 3-month period, I contacted the pump supplier, which for me is T-Slim, and they have an option where you can rent a insulin pump for the duration of your travel, conditionally that if you lose it or you break it or something happens, you do pay the full price of the pump, and it's not covered by insurance, but luckily I didn't have to use this pump the whole time. You just return it in the mail and it's free. But TSA did have to open it, and in this case, I sent a letter back with the pump saying, like, TSA opened it for security reasons. I didn't need to do this. When it was the day of the flight, I arrived at the airport with one bag almost entirely dedicated to my diabetes and medical supplies. Some airlines do allow an extra bag for diabetics to take their medical supplies. That is in addition to their checked bag, overhead, and carry-on. So just check with your airline and see if this is an allowance they'll be willing to make. Otherwise, you'll want to keep this bag with you, because if you do check it and it has your supplies and medication in it, it's not going to be with you for the duration of the flight, and it is not in a temperature-controlled environment, which is not good for your medication or supplies, especially insulin. It'll be outside of the viable range. So if anything happened to that bag that I had with me, it was going to be, a fault of user error, my fault. So I did pack like 1 or 2 days of clothes worth in there also, just if I was going to have any bag, it was that one. And I arrived at the airport with this bag, and this one could go through the x-ray machine, of course, if it didn't have like the pump in it or my Dexcom supplies. Those it is suggested that you don't send them through the x-ray or the body scanner. I opted for a pat down just to be safe, because I did take it through some of this stuff. I had a couple connectivity errors with my CGM, no apparent issues with my pump, but I'm wearing it all the time. It's already going through a lot of stuff with me, so rather not put any more pressure on like its internal systems. And for the pat down, they basically just have you hold your pump out, and they're like, okay, we're going to swab it and then swab your hands. And diabetes is something that they are aware of, because these machines, like, if you don't have diabetes, they look a little bit, they could be look like sinister machines, but TSA is aware that they are harmless. They actually are medical devices, so you should have a little issue getting through there. If you end up in an airport where the native language is not your native language, I would learn how to say, I'm diabetic, this is medication. I arrived in Russia, and so many times they ask me, what is that? What is that? And I would always go, I'm diabetic, it's my medication. But you need to learn how to say that in the language for the country that you're going to. Arriving at your destination. This part is exciting because you're getting used to a new culture, a new environment, maybe new foods, walking distances. All of this can affect your blood sugar. My suggestion would be to monitor your blood glucose more often than you're used to, or update your CGM calibrations. Just be more vigilant to the environment's effect on your body. If you're having trouble adjusting to this environment, your endocrinologist is always a great resource to reach out to. They can adjust your treatment plans or just try to help you adapt. And once you have adapted and you've kind of gotten used to it, I would suggest finding who people you're around most of the time and letting them know about your diabetes a little bit, that you may need food at certain times or how to use certain devices, anything you're comfortable with. But knowing that you're not alone, you're not the only one that knows how to handle this, is always a great suggestion. It's not asking someone else to take care of your diabetes for you, but to just be aware. If someone has an allergy, you'd want to be aware of that too. So that's just kind of my view on it, is that it's kind of a courtesy to other people too, just in case something does go wrong with you, that they're not helpless and that they don't feel like they can do anything. Because at times, people, even just handing you some juice could be a huge help. But if you feel comfortable once you've arrived, I think you've done everything, and the procedures should be the same on the way back. You'll be going through TSA again, packing, and you'll be amazed at the amount of space you have once all of your diabetes supplies are gone, so you can take back some souvenirs with you, maybe even in that luggage. I just hope you guys have a great time and this video has helped you maybe prepare for your travels and get out of that comfort zone some. So bon voyage. If you have any questions about my experience as a diabetic or any of the programs that have helped me get to Russia, that'll be in the description box below. And if you're interested in hearing about any more of my adventures, check out some of the videos on this channel, and they're all from Russia. I hope you have a great day.